Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this, your Sunset Safari. My name is James, and this is Safari Live.
Ready.
Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Gobble, gobble.
Hello, everybody. I'm lying here on a piece of granite rock. It's not probably granite, actually. I think it's probably more sedimentary sandstone with a bit of granite in it. But it's a perfect place to lie because I'm facing behind me the southeast, from whence a howling gale is blowing. The sun is upon me, shining from the west, and I feel deeply comfortable, although Louise says I look like a desert wanderer that has given up on life. I think that's very unfair. Shame upon you.
Breaking up.
Am I still breaking up? There we are. So every so often the sound breaks up, and I do apologize for that. Now, Brian is on camera, in case you hadn't figured that out from the gobbling turkey that let me know we were live, and you can see a very magnificent mustachioed thumb today. That's most impressive, Brian. Yes. On the other vehicle, we have Brent Leo Smith, and he's being driven around by, well, no, he's not. He's being filmed by David Eastaugh. David Eastaugh recently returned from the Netherlands, Edinburgh, and London, a little holiday that he took for himself. He's come back lean, mean fighting machine. That is David Eastaugh. In the final control, Louise Pavid is in my ear most of the time when I plug in, and then I think she's being ably assisted by Kirsten Mack Smith, if I'm not mistaken. Lord help me if I get that wrong. Okay, that's the story, and that's the team this afternoon. We are heading off to the far east today, and you know what we're looking for, everybody. We're looking for ostriches. I'm hoping to try out the incredible ostrich attraction technique taught to us by Hayden Turner when he was here. Now, Cat and Tampa and many others. You are now in a bit of a Twitter. I did mean to do that Twitter thing. Did you notice that, Brian? Very nice. Yes. Now, if you want to be in a bit of a Twitter like Cat and Tampa and many others, you can talk to us, #SafariLive on Twitter. Otherwise, emails at questions@wildearth.tv. Now, the Twitter has been caused by the fact that I said Gerry Camacho, who is... I don't know too much about him, other than that he's a very sort of well-respected leopard researcher who knows things about leopards that many sort of formalized researchers don't, mainly because he spends so much time around them. And I think his interests extend to other big cats. But one of the things that he said is that he doesn't think that these Birmingham boys, the 4 of them that are dominating this area, the dominant male coalition, is in fact the Birmingham boys at all. He doesn't think that they come from the farm Birmingham in the Timbavati. I don't know who he thinks they are, but for now we're going to keep calling them the Birmingham boys. I just think that's quite interesting, and we must try and find out from him perhaps who he thinks they are and why he thinks they are who they are. Yes. Now, like I say, we're going off to see if we can find some ostriches. I'm also hoping desperately to see the Wahlberg's eagle. There is a Wahlberg's eaglish type bird there, Brian. You see it flying there. Now, the Wahlberg's eagle, of course, our first migrant bird. Hopefully we'll see it. I know what's going to happen, though, is that I have been scouring the skies and burning my eyes out for the last goodness knows how many days. And I've no doubt in my mind that Brent Leo Smith will look up one day or 1 minute at the lion sighting, and he will spot a Wahlberg's eagle. Because that ain't one, is it, Brian? That's the same thing that fooled me just before we went live. That everybody is the African harrier hawk, with whom we spent a very pleasant time this morning, watching it flying about the place, calling, and then I had a request by somebody, and I forget exactly who it was, to play the call again for you. Let me quickly do that for you, because it's a haunting, haunting call of the African harrier hawk. Are you ready, Brian?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Oh. Now, we don't want to be attacked by the African harrier hawk, so I think we'll just play it once or twice. That's what the one we had today. Oh, it was dreadfully plaintive today. Good. On we go. We're going to go quite quickly from here, cross the Molwanini drainage line, and then onto Cheetah Plains. While we do that, we might lose signal, so let's go across to Brent Leo Smythe.
Welcome to today's Sunset Safari, and we are very excited to take you on an African adventure, even though our aerial has fallen down, Dave. And of course I have Dangerous Dave, the objectified dish on camera, who's trying to fix the aerial. There we go. Well done, Dave. Oh, we've got to do the cameraman's job for them as well these days. Only joking. So we've decided we're going to go try see what Mr. Tingana is up to. We left him sleeping in the Maracan River, but it's been a cool day, so I think he might be on the move. Of course, we're quite confident the Nkuhumas and whatnot will be there a bit later, and I feel like I need a bit of leopard time in my life. So we're going to go see if we can find Tingana. Now, he looked like he had eaten, but predators are always opportunists, so you never know whether he might have managed to catch a snack while we have been dallying about camp. So hopefully he wouldn't have moved too far and we'll be able to find him quite quickly. Now, of course, this is a live African Safari, and you can send me questions, and you can do that by sending me an email, questions@wildearth.tv, or use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. So we're about to cross now from Djuma into Arathusa. So Arathusa is our western section of traverse. And the reason I'm going the particular route I have chosen today is because the last sign of shadow, oh, sorry, my blankets have become a bit cockeyed. There we go. The last position of shadow where she was lost is in this area, and she does like the area around Red Dam, so she may pop up for a visit as well. So fingers crossed for multiple leopards on this windy yet partly cloudy sunset safari. Now let's hope we're not engulfed in another dust storm, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. James, has he made the wrong call? Has he got it right this time? Let's go have a look.
It's there, wrong call, my foot. That is a Wahlberg's eagle beyond any doubt in my mind, everybody. It has got a very thin, square tail. It is the right color. Its wings are the right shape. Welcome back, old fellow. It's good to have you with us. Harbinger of the spring and the good times to come. I'm very happy about that, you may have noticed. Did you see that, Brian? Did you see how happy I was? Yes, I was ecstatic. Hooray. Now, Brent hasn't even been looking for one, so I'm very pleased that I got that. Normally when you want these things, you tend not to get them. Anyway, there he is, the Wahlberg's eagle. I don't know which one he was. He might be a Chitwa Wahlberg's eagle. He's not one of our ones that live in the nest just on the road called Wahlberg's Eagle's Nest Road, because they are both pale form Wahlbergs, and they will be back very quickly now, I'm sure. Right, I think we're going to go into some fairly dodgy signals, so I don't know. Do you want to stay with us, Louise? Good, you do want to stay with us. Oh, we can't. Okay, let's go across to Brent quickly. We'll just jump through this drainage line and see you the other side.
Ah, well done, Master Henry. I suppose it's only fitting after the tawny eagle last week. Okay, let's have a look. We're at Red Dam. It's been quite cool today, so the hippo might not have made his way here. He might be resting in a drainage line somewhere, or trying to feed, taking advantage of the cool weather. Now, I always go down to the bottom here to check around the corner in case there's a lazy leopard. Alas, today there is not. we're not very far from where we left Tingana. And as I said, there's always a chance of shadow here. Okay. We're about to dip down into the Markene River. Now, like the Mulwati, river is a strong word. It's more of a dry creek bed. Nice sandy creek bed, lots of big trees around. A firm favorite with leopards, these types of habitats. Provides them nice trees to take kills into, also nice shade and cover on the hotter days. And also a bit of protection from the wind on the cold nights. They can lie up in the Ngwari and spikethorn thickets such as this. Now, a very big welcome to Trinity May. Trinity May, you are a new viewer who are joining us on a live African safari. Ooh, and Trinity, we look for every little bit of wonder. Nature, come out, Dave, to the right. There. There we go. There we go, Trinity. That's an example. That is a brown-hooded kingfisher, a very pretty bird. So we're out in the wilderness, and we are looking for all the animals, great and small. At the moment, I'm looking for leopard, but if I spot something as gorgeous as a brown-hooded kingfisher, I'm definitely going to stop and have a look. Now, Trinity May, a lot of our regular viewers keep bird lists of all the different birds and mammal lists of all the different animals we see out here on a daily basis in the African bush. Now, Trinity, this is live, so you are enjoying this at the exact same time I am. So welcome to Safari Live. It's all in the name, isn't it, Trinity? So here we go, a little brown-hooded kingfisher. Now, unlike what the name suggests, quite a few different kingfisher species we have out here are insectivorous. So they don't eat fish at all. They live not near water like this particular species. Their main food is made up of insects. So grasshoppers, dragonflies, anything they might be able to catch. Pretty. Well, there was another one, but it took off. So they will be preparing to nest now. So I'm just having a quick look around, because there was a pair, and this is an ideal sort of nesting site for an insectivorous kingfisher. And a dead tree like we've got here often has hollows where the kingfishers can make a nest. See if we can edge a little closer to this little kingfisher. And a few hours ago, Trinity, I actually saw a leopard, and that's what I'm looking for now. But if the kingfisher, oh no, off it goes. So the Markene River is the main river system, or little dry creek bed, that flows, or doesn't flow very often, but runs through Arathusa. From near its northern boundary, it goes all the way down to its southwestern boundary. And this particular road that we're on is called Markene Drive. And basically we drive in the riverbed the whole way through. So for those of you not sure, we are in an unfenced wilderness that's about 8.5 million acres, covers 3 different countries, and is one of the premier wildlife safari destinations in the world. It encompasses the Kruger National Park, the private reserves such as we're in now, the Sabi Sand, Timbavati, some more national reserves such as the Manyaleti, Letaba Ranch, Makuyu Game Reserve, and extending into Mozambique and also into Zimbabwe. Okay, So we left that leopard just around the next corner. A big welcome to Chandra, another new viewer. We love having new viewers that get to share the wonder of Africa with us. Chandra says she only found the stream yesterday and absolutely loves it and is very happy and says we all do a good job. Well, we're very grateful for that. Thank you, Chandra. We do have to hit cameramen with sticks every now and then to make sure they do their job. Or if I think the cameraman moved my stick out of the car before I got hold of them. It's a long one I can tap them with. Oh, and I do love wild flowers. And it looks like the wild plumbagos have started to flower. Very, very interesting little flower there. The white ones are wild and indigenous to this area. The blue ones are not. So the white ones, also known as a tattoo plant. Now, in a lot of sort of cultural, ceremonial rituals, a lot of the African people, the plumbago, which is this plant here, is used. If you take the roots and you wrap them around your skin and leave them there, they have got an acid in that burns into the skin and actually leaves a permanent mark. So used for rites of passage and ceremonial scarring, the tattoo plant or plumbago. Dave was quite impressed with that, yeah, see. We haven't had a chance to speak about flowers because we are in the middle of the drought, so there are not that many flowers out and about at the moment, and wild flowers are one of my favorite things in the African bush. I even wrote a very unsuccessful little book on them. Seems like not that many people are as interested in flowers as I am. Okay. Now, keep your eyes peeled, Dave. This is where Tingana, the dominant male leopard in our traverse area, was. He was just through the spike thorn thicket that's coming up. Now, it has been a cool day, so he might have moved, which means I might have to do some tracking. And when I say tracking, we follow his footprints. Sometimes on foot or from the vehicle till we can find him. There's always the chance he might be snoozing in the exact same spot we left him. Which we will find out in about 30 seconds. It doesn't look like it though. Looks like he's got on the move. Might not have moved too far, so it always pays to just check carefully around. Like I said, on a cool day like this, I think he might be moving. Okay, well, he's definitely not where we left him. No, he was lying right there. I just want to have a quick look around and have a look if I can see if his footprints tell me where they go, where he went. Just Franklin, little birds. So this is how we quite often find these creatures. Aha! But there was a car here when I left, and I'm taking the easy tracking route because I see car tracks going that way, which means they probably were following him while it was moving. So no need to do the hard work just yet. You ready for an adventure? Let's go. Let's just see where these car tracks go. They go deeper into the block. Okay, so while we try find this elusive leopard, let's go see what James has been up to.
Can you hear me now? What about now? Okay. Okay, I'm coming back. Wait. Can you hear me now? Oh, excellent. Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. Right, that's a fig tree. The fig tree is growing on top of the termite mound, and it is either a common strangler fig or an African wild fig. I'm hoping it's the latter, because what we read about it the other day was numerous. Now, if you look there, you see that there? You can see some milky latex coming out of it. You've got the milky latex there, do you? Now that milky latex, everybody, apparently can be used, Brian, for?
Put it in your eyes?
Put it in your eyes for cataracts.
Yes.
So if you have a cataract, you put that in your eye and you go permanently blind in that eye, and therefore you don't worry about your cataract any longer. I'm not sure if that is the case, but I don't believe that it actually works for cataracts. We were reading about that the other day. The roots, and you can see the roots, because it's a strangler fig, they actually go all the way up the side of the tree there. Those roots can be powdered, and you put them in porridge. And if a woman has porridge, now, have you got me?
Yeah.
So you take those roots and you crush them up and you put them in porridge. I'm not sure why it should be porridge as opposed to a drink or your vegetables. But either way, you put in your porridge, and if a woman has had a miscarriage before, apparently this will prevent that the next time around. So those are just two of the traditional uses of the fig tree, what do we call it? The African wild fig, common wild fig. Then, Brent, remember I had that tree the other day here, and I didn't know what it was, and we took it home, and Brent told me that he found one a while back in the garden of the place where he and Jamie live, and it's called an African plain tree, Borchilia tortilis. And so I just wanted to tell you that, and as I said that to you, I thought, well, obviously I will find one here. But I've just driven through a whole forest of them and I can't find it again. So on our way out of Cheetah Plains, I will show that one to you. Borchilia tortilis. Now, in order to remember the Latin name, I will have to repeat it 7,000 times today. Borchilia tortilis. Hello, Nigel in the United Kingdom, Borchilia tortilis. You want to know about why it is that the big trees are on termite mounds, or why it is that there are big trees on termite mounds. It's the same reason that the grasses that grow around termite mounds are highly favored by grazers. Rhino and buffalo and zebra especially love to graze around termite mounds. And Nigel, the reason is that it's extremely nutritious. When a termite colony feeds, what they do is they go and collect dead wood and dead plant material. They take it into the burrow, into the mound, they eat it, they mix it with fungus, and then they poop it out eventually as dung. And that gets mixed into the sort of mound and the material that makes up the mound, and especially the material underneath the mound, because remember, the mound is actually the typical tip of the iceberg sort of story. And so what that means is that the soil around the mound is very, very nutritious, and on the mound likewise. And so the tree will naturally, if you fertilize a tree or you fertilize a plant and water it well, it's going to grow larger than a plant that isn't fertilized or looked after properly. And that's what happens with the trees. They're like well-fertilized trees. And some trees will only grow on mounds and will certainly favor them. And two great examples that we get here, the weeping boerbean, Scotia brachypetala, and also the brown ivory, Berkemia discolor. They love to grow on termite mounds. And it's interesting because the one really good example of the brown ivory that we have in my favorite spot on this reserve does not grow out of a termite mound, it goes straight out of the ground. Perhaps there's a harvested termite colony underneath it somewhere, but it doesn't grow out of a big mound like the big ones we were looking at earlier. Right, we're approaching Djuma Dam, not at Djuma, it's at Cheetah Plains, and this is where we last saw those scraggly Styx cubs, and they seem to have been spending quite a long time around here, so I thought it's just worth doing a little turn around here first, just in case, because we're obviously off to find the ostriches, aren't we? Off to find the ostrich. I've just realized that if I continue singing that, the syllables are going to be too many, so I'm going to stop. Brian, observe my power. Oh, did I? That's no good. We're going to have to break this microphone. I think I'm going to drive over it. I said to you that you needed to observe my immense power.
It was quite
It was, wasn't it? Good. Excellent. On we go. Yes. Thank you, Aaron and James. You say that quarantine was found with 2 kills today. Yes, we went past Taxon earlier today, and he told us about that. They were on Torchwood, or they. Quarantine was on Torchwood with his meals. And so Valerie and Velma, our 2 long-time viewers who are staying at Vuyatela, they went to see Quarantine with his kills today. Now, on that termite mound, there are no lions. In the dam, there are no lions, so that's okay. We'll carry on towards the plains, where hopefully there will be a pride of ostriches. You do call them a pride of ostriches, or a wobble. And of course you should really call it a wobble, because wobble is a great word to say. Sorry, I'm looking a bit like this because the comms are very bad. Pam in Arizona, I'm going to assume, I think your question is, can I please explain how it is or what we should do when we walk into lions if you view lions on foot, and why the way they do, is that correct? Right. Pam in Arizona. Well, lions on foot are actually often the least terrifying things that you can see on foot, because they normally run away from us. So they really aren't particularly terrifying unless you happen to stumble upon a lioness and her cubs, in which case you'll be terrified beyond your wits. But the basic modus operandi is that if you see lions on foot, you stand still. If they see you, if they don't see you, then you just move away. This all depends on the distance, of course. So, for example, I mean, let's say we were walking along this road, and there we found a pride of lions sitting on the opposite side of the dam there, right? Say that's about 150 meters away, and it's in a clearing where there's a clear line of sight between you and them. Well, then you just stop right here and look at them and enjoy the view. They would almost certainly get up and watch you, and they would just look at you. It would be highly unlikely that they would do anything other than just stand up and look. And then when you'd had enough, you'd move away. If, however, you were walking along this road and you happened upon a pride of lions that was sleeping behind a bush, say 20 meters from where you were, then you would stop. If they didn't react, they'd have to be probably anesthetized, in which case you just walk away. But normally they would react. They'd get up and they'd look. And they get up very quickly, and that's when you can get a fright. So the key thing is just to stand still. They will normally then run away, and you then back away. They don't run away. If they just stand and look, you back slowly away and watch their reactions very carefully. If they start to come forward towards you, growling, you stop. Sometimes you'll shout and make a noise at them so that they know that you are, you make yourself just look a bit larger and a bit more aggressive, and then they'll normally back off or stop, and then you can back away. Sometimes that process of backing away, you take a step back, they take a step forward, that can take up to 20 minutes to kind of play out until you can increase the distance between them. But then normally you're fine. And that's basically how it is that you would approach lions on foot, and it's because they see you as a threat that they behave in that manner. I hope that makes sense, Pam. Just getting an update on the radio now. No, nothing so far. Hello Beth in Indianapolis. You want to see some tracks of animals other than lions and leopards, and you'd like to perhaps see some of ostriches. If I can find an ostrich track, I will show it to you with pleasure. But certainly we will try and find some other animal tracks, especially while the light is good. I think it's going to probably get a bit dull as we go towards the evening, but yes, definitely we will try and find you some interesting tracks to see. We're having a very interesting discussion, and we have a bi-weekly meeting every week. Obviously, it's a bi-weekly meeting. So we have a bi-weekly meeting in which we discuss bits and pieces of the show, and we go through what things that we think we did right and wrong and that sort of thing. And one of the things we discussed today was this possible slight obsession that we have with cats. And it got quite heated, which was quite good, and we wanted to know, we go out and that's exactly what the feedback was. We go out and we track cats every morning. When we go out, it's always, I'm going to find a leopard or I'm going to find a lion. And so that is often only the only tracks that you see, and that's not very fair on any of the other animals out here, I don't think. So yes, absolutely, I will try and find some more tracks. It is a little bit windy today, so it will be a little bit difficult. I'm going south onto the southern boundary now. And while we do that, let's go across to Brent and get an update from him, find out what's going on with Tingana now. Oh, hello. You're still with us. That's lucky. Okay, I didn't fall out of the car or anything there, Brian. There's a steenbok, everyone. You see it there, Brian? Does it run away? Oh, there it is. Shining in the sun there. And very, very good condition, the steenbok, and it does amaze me. We had these enormous predictions of death and destruction out here as a result of this drought, me included. And I don't think anybody's doing too badly, actually. Elephants a little bit, maybe one or two buffalo, especially if they've been infected with bovine tuberculosis. Sneak a little bit forward. And that steenbok, goodness knows what he's eating. They're supposed to eat corms and roots and fresh grass and buds and that sort of thing. How he's finding sufficient to maintain that condition, I don't know. But just like with your dogs, and just like, with you, when you've got shiny hair, you know that an animal is in good condition. And in this particular case, I think the steenbok is in fine fettle. Right, Brent Leo Smith is now ready for you. He has brushed his hair, put his tie on, brushed his jacket as well, and he's ready for you with a much larger animal than this.
Well, there's an elephant hiding behind the bush. So far, I'm just trying to get an update. It seems like that leopard's moved, so I'm not quite sure exactly where he is. But we also have the biggest animal and one of the smallest animals right next to us. Dave, do you see all watching us very intently in the termite mound? There's a whole business of dwarf mongoose. Hello, little guys. So the smallest member of the carnivore family in Africa, the dwarf mongoose. Oh, there goes one. Yup, 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 yup. Now they're not running from us. That's how they move between different areas of safety while feeding, because being so little, there's a lot of things that can eat you, especially birds of prey, and that's what they worry about. Very, very cute. There we go. I can only see a single elephant at the moment. I'm just going to wait for it to move a little bit further out into the open. Going to roll forward a tiny bit if we can. It's just his. How's that, Dave? There we go. So it does look like a young bull, probably early teens. Sorry, late teens. And it's not uncommon for them to be pushed out of the breeding herds while their hormones are racing. They tend to cause a bit of havoc and upset the females quite heavily. So they normally hang on the periphery, so there might be a breeding herd not too far away, but he's been banished to the edge. What's he eating? A bush willow. Now, the little dwarf mongoose is still watching us quite intently. And a big hello to Alice, who's 7 years old, from Virginia. There, the little mongoose, Alice. Now, Alice would like to know how many of most mongoose can live in one hole. Well, you can get up to about 30 to 40 mongoose. Of course, there's a series of tunnels under the ground there that they live in. But I don't think they live in this one. It's just one of their bolt holes, one of the places they run to if they feel a bit scared. As the rest of them are moving off, and they'll have lots of different homes in their territory that they will use sporadically, so they'll use a different home almost every night. They're very cute though. Well, hi Sabrina, who's 18 years old and from Germany. She says, firstly, those dwarf mongoose are beyond cute, and that they definitely are. But Sabrina would like to know, what do they eat? Well, they are omnivores, Sabrina, so if they can, they'll eat little mice and rodents that they catch, also insects, scorpions, small snakes, fruits. So they'll eat whatever they can catch. They will dig up spiders and grubs and all sorts of things as well. So they've got a very varied diet. One of their favorite things in the world to eat, and that goes for most mongoose species, is the eggs of ground nesting birds. And if they ever find them, they become very excited and start going when they find eggs. I've actually had, growing up, I've had a couple of different mongoose species as pets. So I'm well versed at their different vocalizations. Now, of course, that loud vocalization you're hearing in the background is an aeroplane taking off. Some lucky souls have just landed to go on safari at Arathusa Safari Lodge. Now, Cheryl in Oregon is wondering, are they able to climb trees? They're not the best climbers, but they can climb relatively easy trees. But generally they prefer to climb termite mounds, which is where they reside, and because the termite mounds have lots of nice holes that they can hide in from predators. But the rest of the business, and that's the proper collective noun for a group of mongoose, is a business of mongoose, have left. We've only got one at the moment who's still there checking us out, but I think he's off. Sorry, I just need to be on the radio quickly. Doug. Copy, Doug. From where we left him this morning, it looks like I left Armand there, and he's got tracks sort of going south into the block. But I'm not sure exactly where he left him, because those tracks went across the road and kept going. So I don't know if you can get hold of Armand on the Eastern Channel. I can't from this distance, and see what the last update was. And of course, we've still got that young elephant bull calmly, not grazing, browsing on what looks to be a bush willow. Well, a big welcome to AG, another new viewer. Many new viewers today so far, and AG is wondering, will elephants attack us? Only if we're naughty, AG. No. Generally, if you read their body language correctly, you keep a safe distance, you let them, they can come close to the car, that's not a problem. They aren't relaxed, we immediately give them space and leave them. So there we go, and Ellie's slowly moving out into the open. Now, it is a drought, so it is a tough time for a lot of the herbivores, or actually all of the herbivores. But some of the animals hardest hit by drought are going to be elephant, buffalo and hippo. Because of their size, they need to eat quite a lot more vegetable matter than, say, a steenbok or an impala for that matter. But it seems that this Ellie's in not too bad a condition, considering. Copy, thanks very much, Douglas. I'll go have a look there now. So, Alice is wondering how long an elephant can live for. Well, Alice, an adult elephant can live to about 65 years old. And what happens is they only have 6 sets of teeth, sorry, and at the end of that last set of teeth, they're unable to digest, so they normally die of starvation. So I've just got an update on where that male leopard we've been hunting for was supposed to have been left. So we're going to head back into the Maracan and see if we can find him. Now, with a single elephant bull around here, there's a possibility that there could be a lot more elephant around, so we will keep our eyes open. But while we do that, let's go see how James is doing in the Far East.
Hello everybody, we've just come to the edge of the clearings here, the far eastern boundary of our traverse here on Cheetah Plains, and I'm afraid we have found naught, but there is a herd of elephants that we're going to go and have a look at once we've just checked the eastern boundary here, and once we have revelled in the sight of the crested barbet that is not there anymore. Brian. Deeply irksome. He was so pretty. No, he's not there anymore. Oh, there he is. Can you see him? He is on that scraggly bushel. There we are. Pop. There's the crested barbet. Now everybody, that bird is about 30 meters away from us. And yet he's almost full frame with this very clever camera. Well, now he's not at all, but you know, he was. Marvellous. Now the reason we're just going to the edge here, of course, this is called typical guide sort of hubris. Brent had Inkanyeni here the last time he saw her, and so now I must go here and check every time, just in case she's come back again. This is the only place that Sam saw her once, right on the edge here. She loves this termite mound on our left. She likes that termite mound on her right, which we're not allowed to go to because it's in Mala Mala. So now we'll turn north up the Kruger boundary. We're being tracked by the crested barbet. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Liz, very much. You say congratulations for the first Wahlberg's eagle. Yes, yes. I am rather reveling in my finding of the first Wahlberg's eagle. You want to know what morph it was? Well, while we sit here and wait for Inkanyeni to step out from behind a bush in front of us, Liz, I'll show you. It's a pretty standard issue morph Wahlberg's eagle, that one. Let me just pull it out of my book. They come in a number of different varieties, do the Wahlberg's eagle. Liz and others who perhaps don't know. And that one was the sort of standard issue chocolate brown morph. I quite like that one. But the most unusual one that we get is the pale form pair. Right, here we go. So Liz, he was pretty much morph number B there. That's the most common one. You get the sort of melanistic, very dark form one. You get the leucistic one there. That's the pale form. There are 3 or 4 of them that live on Djuma when they come back to nest. 2 of them in a pair just near where Brent and Jamie live, and Eggsy, of course. And so what I saw was this today. I saw that very obvious shape, and with especially the thin tail. You see that very thin tail? They close their tails right up when they're flying into the wind. And so that's what I saw. I would very much like to see one of these two. I've never seen either of those. You see the pale head with the brown bottom and the black head with the brown bottom. Must be astounding to see. Anyway, that is the morph of the standard issue brown morph Wahlberg's eagle. Ah, Aaron in New Zealand, you say that the Wahlberg's eagle is number 97 on your bird list. That's brilliant. Good, okay. 97, and I mean, obviously your list is going to grow exponentially now as we go into the summer and the migrants are coming back. The Wahlberg's definitely the first migrant I've seen. What is the date today? It's the 23rd of August. I'm sure that's later than last year. Hello, Sarah. You're wondering about the weavers and when they'll return. And Sarah, the great conundrum, of course, is that they never left. They're always around, but they lose that yellow color during the winter time, so they don't have that very obvious yellow coloring, the males. So they just look like little brown birds. And I think we often pass them off as sparrows. But they're around. But Sarah, the reason we didn't see them too much last year was because of the drought, and they often like to build those incredible nests that they weave over water, hanging over water. They just couldn't do that last year. And I know Treehouse Dam, when I arrived here, it had a really nice sort of collection of weavers, masked weavers, southern masked weavers, village weavers, but I'm afraid they just didn't build nests this year because of the lack of water. So hopefully when we get some water as we go into the summer, they get that yellow plumage again, and then we'll see them, and then they'll start to weave those rather spectacular nests that they do. Now, the elephant should be just through here somewhere, Brian. Let's just stop here. Now, Debbie in Vancouver, you're wondering about the woodland kingfisher. When we're going to see it. And Leo Smith says between the 13th and 14th of September. Is that what he said? Debbie, I'm going to disagree profoundly with Brent. The woodland kingfisher you're not going to see before middle of October. Let me just check this, because I remember him coming back very late last year. It may have even been in November. Yeah. Widespread blah 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 blah. Here we go. Migrate from present northwestern Botswana, November to April. Zimbabwe, October to April. Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal. Yeah. Well, it says it could come back here in September, but last year I seem to remember it being, was it around the 20th of October, I thought it came back. It was much later than I thought it was going to come back, and I just never noticed it before. So let's see. Brent says 12th to 15th. I'm going to say a full month later than that. I may be quite wrong. I shall be happy to eat humble pie. Well, not happy, but I will eat it if I'm required to. And just while we're driving along, if you don't know what the woodland kingfisher looks like, well, I shall show you. And I will try not to have an accident while I'm showing you. Brian, you'll tell me if you see a leopard, will you? Yes. So the woodland kingfisher there is number 1. Tell me if we need to stop, Brian, or if the camera is steady enough. There's the woodland kingfisher, and he goes, Brian, what does he do? There we go. That's marvellous. Okay, we're going to turn back down the way. The elephants haven't come through here. We're just in a slightly awkward corner where we couldn't drive to, and we saw them on the distance. That's a lovely local expression, where instead of when it was just translated directly from the Shangaan, if you ask a Shangaan person who doesn't speak very good English, you know, where is it, they'll say, on a distance over there, on a distance. I've always loved that. Hello, Holly. Very difficult question to answer, therefore a very good question. You say, how many elephants are there wandering around our area of this park? Well, we're traversing about 6,500 acres. The last time that I saw a count in the Sabi Sands for elephants, it was about 900 elephants. At the time before that, it was 250. It's so variable that it's impossible to say. So, given the amount of water that there is here at the moment, and given the amount of drought there is, and therefore the lack of water that there is in the Kruger, I'm going to say probably at least upward of 1,000 elephants in the Sabi Sand region. That's 60,000 hectares. We're on about a 20th of that, so about 5% we traverse, less than that, yeah, slightly less than 5%. So, you know, anything between 100 elephants at some stage, probably as few as 20 at others. So it really does depend on movement all over the place. In the park, we're not sure. They don't release the numbers anymore, which is slightly distressing. I mean, the entire Kruger Park, but I think they're probably upward of 15,000 elephants. There they are. Now, we're going to be a little bit careful here, because the last time I saw a herd of elephants at Cheetah Plains, I was chased quite severely down the road. So I'm going to watch this herd quite carefully. It looks like there's a bit of a argy-bargy going on there, and what we want to look out for is a cow with only one tusk. She gave us a big rev last time. So let's just see what's going on here. That's her. That's almost certainly her. Let's just wait and see if she turns towards us. Not the big one, that one there, yeah. That's a bull behind her. It's obviously giving her a little bit of uphill. She might be an estrus, you know. And that's why that bull's looking. There we go. The bull, quite interested in what we're doing. Let's wait and see how this plays out briefly, because it looks like they might be heading towards the pan. Yeah. See, he's now interested in us and what we want. Move a little bit closer. The pan is off to sort of where he's walking there, but slightly behind, like there. They might be wandering their way through the woodland to there. Hello Mia, aged just 4 years old. Let's have a look at these elephants. They seem to be quite relaxed around us at the moment. Mia, you say, what is an elephant's favorite food? Your favorite food is peas. Well, Mia, I'm sure your mum and dad are very happy that your favorite food is peas. Most 4-year-olds' favorite food is not peas, and it's a struggle to make them eat their peas. So that's great. But an elephant, Mia, has different kinds of favorite food depending on the time of the year. So at this time of the year, their favorite food is bark. So they eat a lot of bark off trees, and I'll cut you some a little bit later when we've got away from these elephants. That's what they like to eat now. In summertime, especially in January or February, we get special fruits on some of the trees called marulas. And then the elephants love marula fruits. And they love marula fruits even more than you like peas, Mia. What's your favorite food, Brian?
Oh, it's a tough one. It'll probably be a fruit.
A fruit,
Yeah.
not ice cream.
No, like a strawberry.
Strawberry, oh yes, strawberry is delicious. I think they are some... Oh, look, Brian. There's a beautiful flower there, the first flower of the spring. It's a morning glory, an Ipomoea species. I can only think that it's grown there because some animal has relieved itself right on the seed, because there's been no rain to have encouraged that thing out of the ground. Isn't that amazing? In the sea of kind of brown. I suppose we did have that spattering of rain the other day, didn't we? Maybe a bit of rain fell there, and that's why that Ipomoea morning glory has popped up out of the ground. Now there's a bit of a story playing out here with these elephants. We've got that one there, but definitely that cow who is walking through here without the tusk, she's definitely being trailed by that bull. And Donna, you want to know how tall that bull was? Well, just to make sure we're all on the same page, when we say tall, for a or quadrupedal animal like that, it's the shoulder height. So from the bottom of the front foot to the top of the shoulder, or the top of the back. And that elephant was probably about 9 feet tall. He was good height. So that's pretty tall. I'm 5'8". Brian is 6'4", and that elephant had almost 3 feet on Brian, and that's just at the shoulder. Yeah, you can see the rest of the herd has wandered off through the bushes there, probably because they don't really want to be around that bull, but also because I think they're going to the water. So I think what we should do is move off and go into the clearings round the other side there and see if we can't pick them up coming out of the clearings towards the water. That, of course, is an elephant's limiting macronutrient, is water. They need it very much, and they can survive with just about anything else, but they must have water in much the same way that a buffalo must. Right, we're just going to speed around the corner here. Hello Alice, you're just 7 years old, and you say, how long can an elephant go without water and drink? Without drink, maybe about a week, maybe a little bit more than a week. And without food, I would say about 2 or 3 weeks, Alice, and then they would probably die. So 2 or 3 weeks without food and without water, I wouldn't say much more than a week. Okay, let's go across to Brent while we speed around to the other side of the water and see if he's managed to find any evidence of Tinganana.
Evidence indeed, and very promising evidence. Fresh tracks heading south in the river. So I've come out and we're going to go around to see if they cross here. And what happens in the next 5 minutes is going to make our decision for us where we're going to go next. So I'm going to go really slowly and look for the tracks here. Fingers crossed, he's just lying on a termite mound looking at us. Now, as a male leopard, he is capable of walking incredible distance, and it has been cool today, so I thought it was probably going to be quite unlikely that he was in the exact same spot. So there's this little section of the Marikeni River here where the road doesn't drive down. Oh, hi, Philo. Philo is in Texas. And a new viewer. It's so great to have so many new viewers today. Welcome, guys, to Safari Live. Now, Philo is wondering, how long can a leopard live for? In the wild, a male leopard, the oldest ever recorded, is 15 years. In captivity, they can live over 20, but a male, generally not more than 14 years in the wild. And a female, normally the oldest recorded is about 19 years old, but they normally don't live much beyond 15. So, Philo, what I'm doing now is I'm concentrating very carefully, and I'm trying to see if the leopard has walked through here, because the last tracks that I had of him were about 300 meters that way. So if I don't find any tracks here, there's a very good chance he's inside there somewhere, and which makes our little area to look for him much smaller. And what I'll probably do is I will go around to check to make sure he hasn't gone to the west, and if he hasn't, take a little stroll, see if I can find him on foot. one of the things we're looking, any high ground, like a big termite mound, or even a high bank in the river, is a good place to look for a leopard. They like to pop themselves up on a vantage point to look for potential threats, but more to look for potential prey. Okay, so there is a possibility he might have come out and onto this road, so we need to check very carefully here. Doesn't look like he has, so that's good news. Now we are quite close to our western boundary in Arethusa. I'm really hoping he's still in this block here. So we've got one more road to check. It's called Road 7. Why it is called Road 7, I cannot tell you. That is just its name. Now, he could, of course, have caught something, so he might be in a tree. So it's one of those things you look down and up constantly. Okay, here we go. Another good spot. Check the soft sand. Make sure we don't miss him crossing on the hard ground. I'm feeling lucky. I think he's still here. What do you think, Dave? I reckon he's sitting snug in the Marikeni River somewhere. Hopefully I'm not proved wrong as I get to this next road junction. No sign. That's good. No sign at the moment is a good sign. And it is a wonderful thing to be able to go out and look for these incredible creatures. Now, the leopard is generally known to be the most elusive of Africa's big cats. But in the Sabi Sands, we're incredibly lucky. They're very habituated to the vehicles. And even some of them are quite relaxed with us on foot. But while we try to find you the elusive male leopard, James has got those incredible elephants about to have an afternoon sundowner.
Puza. Hello everybody, indeed. Here are the elephants making their way to the waterhole. Unfortunately no ostriches as yet, but you know, that's just how it goes, really. And they're all coming towards this little waterhole, Cheetah Plains, unsurprisingly called, Brian.
Cheetah Plains pools.
Cheetah Plains. Cheetah Plains Pan, correct. As opposed to trifecta water pans.
3 in a row, lady pans.
That's the one. Right, right. Now, this is not the same herd we've just seen, by the way. I did hear some other elephants in the bushes from where we were sitting, and so this is a slightly different herd. You can see the matriarch out front there, very obviously the matriarch. She's got full tusks. Let's just see them come and drink there. I'm tempted to go a little bit closer. Brian, are you happy here, or should we try and just eke a little bit closer? Let's try and go a little bit closer. I don't want to give them a fright at all, but they're all obviously very thirsty. And why they've decided to drink from there, where they're on the top of the bank, and not from a little closer around this side, I don't know. There we go, that's a slightly better angle. Beautiful light you can see on them. I shall now take a world-class photograph, Brian. Are you excited to see it?
I am.
Aye, not a trace of sarcasm there. I may be wrong. Yeah, it's horrible. This light is just so lovely. And only because the clouds are dissipating it. Yesterday at this time of the day, it was so white and unpleasant. Hello, Laura. You're wondering about when we usually get our rains? That's a question in Africa, like answering the question, how long is a piece of string? It really is very difficult to say when we normally get our rains. You'll probably find that they'll come in November sometime, the main rains. I'm going to sneak slightly forward again. Probably in November. But we might get some decent rain before that. I'm sure we'll have 20 millimeters before that or so. That's about just over an inch. And Laura, with just an inch of water and a week of sun, everything here, all these plains will turn green completely. The trees respond much more to daylight than they do to rain, so they will start to green up from the beginning of next month. That's a beautiful shot. Wonderful. Well done, Brian. Gorgeous. Hello, Panda in England. You want to know how fast an elephant can run. Panda, the first thing to know about that question is much faster than you, much faster than me, much faster than Usain Bolt. They are very quick. They can probably run at about 50 kilometers per hour, which in miles is about 35 miles per hour, roughly that. And remember, Usain Bolt, when he is running the 100 meters in the relatively slow time for him of about 10 seconds, he's running at 36 kilometers per hour, which I'm not going to try and work out in miles. So they're very fast. They don't look fast, and they look like they're not agile and that they can't climb and they couldn't get up and down over logs and things. You won't believe how agile these things are when they want to be. Yeah, and George, you can. You're absolutely right. You can say you really can see how far they can stretch their trunks in this kind of shot. Yeah, you can. Absolutely. And, I mean, an interesting one, of course, we've seen those trunkless elephants. A couple of, there's a half-trunk herd where one female's got half a trunk. We've seen a bull drinking here, and he's got probably only a third of his trunk left. He can't drink like this. He has to get down onto his knees and put his whole mouth into the water before he's able to have a drink. Poor fellow. Tour Pro, hello to you. You said it's kind of amazing that they're able to dust bath and drink with that trunk. Tour Pro, I think it's far more amazing that they are able to not only dust bath and drink, they're able to eat with it. They're able to pick up the tiniest marula fruit, rip off a huge tree limb, and do everything in between with that amazing appendage that they have in front of their faces. It truly is a remarkable thing. And that's when you see an elephant that doesn't have one, or that has a compromised one, you're often, I mean, my first thought is, well, how on earth can it survive? And somehow they manage. Now, Brian, here comes the other herd. See that one there about to destroy yet another tree? And I don't say that in a negative way. Purely, that's what elephants do, especially when it's dry like this. He's mangling a red thorn, I think, an acacia girardii. Yep. Enjoying some bark. I think that's the other herd, unless it's two young bulls that are trailing this herd, perhaps. Hello, Haley. You say this might be a silly question, but are elephants hot or cold-blooded? Haley, there are no silly questions. There are plenty of silly answers, many of which I've given. Please do not be afraid to ask questions like that. We're not all biologists. They are hot-blooded or warm-blooded, but all mammals are warm-blooded, Haley. So elephants and all other mammals are hot or warm-blooded, as are birds. The cold-blooded vertebrates, or animals with an internal skeleton, are the fishes, the reptiles, and the amphibians. But all mammals are warm-blooded. So that would include elephants and impalas and lions and us, monkeys, baboons, nyalas, all sorts. There are a huge number of elephants now emerging into this clearing, everyone. And I'm just seeing if I can see the cow who was very unfriendly to us the other day. I can't, so far. This is wonderful, and hearing the Twitter handle brings back so many childhood memories. This is a question from someone called Paddington Bear. Hello, Paddington Bear from Peru, no doubt. Lover of marmalade and bane of Mr. Brown's life. Paddington Bear, you want to know how it is that we conduct an animal census and find out how many animals there are in this area. We do it normally an aerial census, Paddington. So they will fly a chopper over the top of the landscape or a fixed-winged aeroplane, and they fly that over the top. And from that, they're able to count most of the animals, right down to the size of a duiker, you know, believe it or not. Especially if you fly at this time of the year, you're getting a pretty good idea of the number of elephants and things down to the size of a duiker. Right, that cow at the back there, Brian, is the cow we saw earlier. She's not one-tusked, she's got no tusks. And so she should be okay. This is fascinating. Now, just watch this. This is a whole group of elephants. They know each other maybe, but they're not part of the same herd. And this kind of agglomeration is typical of a dry season sort of situation where different herds of elephants will join up and meet each other at the waterhole, sometimes by mistake. There's a little bit of conflict here. Often the youngsters get very excited by it. I'm just going to watch this cow here in front of us. She's reacting a little bit to us. She's not particularly happy to see us. I might just have to make a little clicking sound, but I think she's going to walk past. I don't think she's going to mind too much about us. There we are. She was just basically saying to us, don't come any closer, please. We're now not quite surrounded, but I mean, all corners of where we're sitting is full of elephants. Brian, will you tell me if I get in the way? I'm just busy taking a world-class photograph. Hello, James Bear. You say, is this a pumped water point? James, it most certainly is a pumped water point. It's called Cheetah Plains Pan. It's a hole that's been scuffed in the ground and there's a pipe leading to it from a borehole. So yes, it's absolutely a pumped water hole. And they're all coming to this side, James, because this is where the entrance is, which means that the cleanest possible water is coming out of where this elephant cow is standing there. That's where the inlet is. And elephants don't like dirty water. Not that this is dirty, because there are no buffalo lying in here or anything else like that. But if they can, they will take the cleanest possible water. You can see she's digging a bit there. Isn't this a wonderful scene? She's digging out the pipe. The rest of them are all having a drink. I think we're looking at 3 herds here, everyone. 3 little herds, each with their own matriarch. And there's that one big bull. You can see him there. That's him, he's center frame at the back there with his ears back. That's him there. You see that, Brian? You see my skills there. Very nice. Scratch his head. He's not a very big fellow. He's going to get a lot bigger. And I'm always interested to know, I'd love to know what these elephants are saying to each other. Do they know each other? Have they seen each other before? Do they appreciate each other? Do they like meeting each other here? Or do they feel a bit threatened? I just never know. Gabby, you want to know if both male and female elephants can grow tusks. Gabby, in the case of the African elephants, the answer is absolutely they can. In the case of the Indian or Asian elephant, the answer is no, they cannot. So in an Asian or Asiatic elephant, only the male grows tusks. In the case of the African elephant, both the forest and the savanna elephants, which we have here, you find that it is only, at least it's both male and female that grow tusks, but sometimes no one grows tusks. Like in the case of that female. I've seen a bull, there's a massive bull that knocks about here sometimes, and he's got no tusks at all. And then you can see that cow there who's got no tusks, and that's genetic. And interestingly, I've seen a few herds where the matriarch or a large female within the herd has no tusks, and so there's often one of her offspring that doesn't have them either. And that is a disadvantage, not really from a defensive point of view, but from an eating point of view. It's difficult for them to eat as effectively as others that do have tusks. And I'm sure you've been watching of late when we've watched the elephants, especially during these drought times, sort of putting branches between their tusks and their trunks. And in so doing, they're able to sort of snap off branches. It doesn't make so much difference in winter, in summertime when there's grass, but it does in winter. Now this cow is now sort of doing a major excavation around the water inlet. And I think there's quite a strong conversation going on here between them. And I'll tell you why I say that. That one there, who's just on your right-hand side, is very clearly pregnant. She's very swollen-bellied when she turns around. She's watching me. She's listening to my voice very carefully. She keeps turning her trunk to have a bit of a smell. I've no doubt that she's talking to the rest of the herd here in some way. There's that very low rumbling that they make, and 90% of the time we can't hear them. See, she's just giving a little sniff at the air, turning her trunk towards the wind, which is blowing from the direction that they came in. Then, Brian, the tuskless cow there, who's just turned round, there she is. She's had her head up almost the whole time they've been here. And she's been looking from side to side. She's either talking to her own herd, or she's talking to the others. I don't know which. And I think she's the matriarch of that little herd. There's a bit of conflict going on here. See the little spike on the bum there? They're chasing off a young bull there. like him. Now, Nicholas, you're just 8 years old and you want to know if it's really true that elephants hold on to each other's tails to not get lost. Nicholas, I've seen it once or twice, but I'm afraid it's a little bit disappointing perhaps to you. They don't always hold on to their tails so that they don't get lost. You can see them walking off there, but they talk to each other all the time, you know. Sometimes the very little ones will hold on to a bigger one's tail. This is another young bull here, and he's just sort of shaking his head at us to see if we run away from him in terror. And now he's a bit ashamed, so he's leaving because we didn't run away from him in terror. This is just the most special sighting. Hello, Sila in Texas. You want to know if an elephant uses its nose to drink water? Does it hold its breath when it's drinking? Was that the question? Silo, yes, absolutely. It has to hold its breath when it's drinking. I'm pretty sure it can breathe through its mouth, though, if it has a trunk full of water. But yes, essentially, at some stage, eventually, it's going to have to stop breathing while it sprays the stuff into its mouth. But they can breathe through their noses and their mouths. And they've chased off that bull now, and they've decided they've all forgiven each other, and they're all coming back. And now it's a whole big group of them. They're not so easy to separate anymore. Perhaps they've decided they like each other. And that bull is playing with a stick now because he's feeling a little bit nervous. Right, here comes this young bull. He's in full charge. He's not really, he just wants a bit of water. Another man in full charge at the moment, Mr. Brent Leo Smith, and he's got himself a scavenger.
So this is a vulture's nest we've visited many times, and there is a vulture at home today. Now, although we see vultures quite regularly outside of the large protected areas, they're in quite big trouble. There's probably only 15,000 pairs of white-backed vultures, which is our most common species, in the whole of South Africa. And in our particular area, the Greater Kruger, or the Lowveld area, encompassing Mpumalanga and Limpopo, there's about 3,000 pairs, so a hefty hunk of the population is in this area. And of course, vultures need animals like lions to produce food for them. I can't see if they've got a chick just yet. We might have to come here with the other camera. You can see a nice safe spot for a nest right at the top of a knobthorn. So it's the males who do most of the building of the nest, and even though it looks quite rough from here, there's a lining of nice soft grass on the inside and sometimes green leaves. But in our part of the world, the favorite tree to nest in is the knobthorn. Hello, Holly from the land down under. Welcome, Holly. Holly said she only stumbled across Safari Live last night, and she's just loving it. Such amazing adventures in Africa. Well, welcome on the adventure, Holly. Great to have you on board. Now, these vultures would have laid between April and June, and I'm just trying to remember. I'm going through my brain, trying to remember when they're probably going to be born. It's about 60 days, so what are we now, August? So there's likely a chick in there at the moment. So they incubate for about 60 days. So I'm just checking, sometimes it might be, if it was only born in June, or might not be hatched yet, but you do see a little head pop out when they are hatched. So I don't see anything there now. We're going to have to come back and check once a week to see when that baby starts showing its head. You know, I'm still convinced that Tingana, the male leopard, is here. I went for a walk. I had his tracks almost all the way to where that tree with the buffalo weaver nests in is. So there we go. But I had to come back to the vehicle to see you guys, and I'm hoping he might pop out down here. So if we get no luck, I'm going to do another loop around here. I found where he actually went up on top of the termite mound, he lay down, then he went down the termite mound. So hopefully he hasn't gone too far. And of course, danger as we go under the vulture's nest. Safe. Now let's hope he hasn't been a sneaky kitty and come back on top of our tracks. Tour Pro says it's fascinating how the ecosystem out here supports so much different life, including the Safari Live crew. Well, yes, it does support us. We wouldn't be out here if it wasn't for the amazing wildlife of Africa. Okay, where are you hiding Tingana? Now, Tingana actually means shy. So when he first came into this part of the world, he was quite shy and used to hide from vehicles. That is not the case anymore, unless I seem to be looking for him. I'm hoping he's just going to be popped up on one of those. What's that there on top of that termite mound? A stick. Lots of stick leopards out here. I just want to pop my nose in here quickly. There's a little steeper bank, and sometimes he does lie in the steep banks. There's a little two-track here. Now, two-track is not a main road, it's a little access road into an area. A termite mound like this is a very typical area where we would find Tingana if he's not on the move. Just going to have one look in this little gully. Just want to see if there's any tracks in the bottom, and also pop my head around that corner. I will use the game path, not just leaping off the edge. Be civilized. So there's no tracks here, which is a good thing, because the last tracks I had were just up there, which leads me to believe he could be literally round the bend. So let me just pop my head around. There's a really high bank up there that I have found him on before. Alas, maybe he's further to still. Gotcha. I know Dave, I got Dave, that's for sure. Let's turn around without falling in the ravine. Are we going to make it, Dave? Oh, so close. We live life on the edge out here in the bush. Well, it seems like it's new viewer day today, so a big welcome to Paddington Bear. Also from the land down under. Our cameraman on the back today is your dad is an Aussie.
Indeed.
Oh, and you even have an Aussie passport. Oh, that's terrible, mate. Hope you didn't watch the rugby this weekend. Okay, sorry about that, Paddington Bear. A little bit of banter. I will answer a question. There's just someone calling me on the Game Drive radio. So for our new viewers, apart from having all your questions in our ear, we've got about 15 different Game Drive cars driving around looking for things from the different lodges that we also listen to. And at the moment, someone's helping me look for this leopard, so I need to just update them. Station looking for update on Tingana. Last encounter I had was just to the south of Old Borehole Crossing. I can't find anything coming out around Second Windmill or Road 7. I'm doing another loop around the block and then I'll take a walk again a bit further to the south. Okay, sorry about that, Paddington Bear. Paddington Bear's question is, what animal would I describe myself as the most like? Ooh, it's quite... when I was living and working in Tanzania, oops, sorry. Doug? Confirm you located? Okay, copy. So confirm you went north. Oh dear, sad face. That leopard has managed to cross our boundary, probably behind us. I think he might have snuck up around here somewhere. But anyway, it is what it is. We are live in the African bush. We cannot pin them by their tails. But Paddington Bear, I was called by my staff in Tanzania when I was running a concession there, in Mwamitu, which has the wild dog, because they decided I had as much energy and was hyperactive as a pack of wild dogs. So I would like to think I'm a wild dog, but I know, Dave, what animal would you compare me to?
Monkey.
A monkey. I'm sure. Did you guys really take my stick out so I can't beat you? I only have to find another cameraman beating stick. Well, you know, we are in the new age. I'm beating with a selfie stick. Okay, well, I don't know. I think there could be another male around. So I just want to check carefully. This is all prime leopard territory. I, of course, liken Dave to a hyena, a smelly, scavenging hyena. Okay, well, if we get no luck here, I'm going to start heading back towards the north and go check in on the Nkahuma Pride. As we've got our main pride of lions has killed a buffalo, but haven't been seeing as many leopards, so we decided to come look for the leopard first, because we know we sort of had the lions in our pocket the whole afternoon. Paul was wondering whether the Nkahumas were still on the buffalo carcass. Well, Paul, we're going to find out in about 10 or 15 minutes, and that's about as long as it'll take me to get back there, now that Mr. Tingana has gone to visit Sibambili. Hoppa! Now, a lot of you might think we're bouncing over speed humps as we travel through the African bush. That, however, is not the case. They are called mitre drains, and they're there for a very important reason. Now, here we go. Here's one. So when it does rain, it is to take the water off the road to stop soil erosion on our little roads, and to stop the topsoil disappearing into the river system. So there's another one. You can see the drain off there. Oof, getting quite chilly. Now, because we've got so many new viewers today, I would say, if you're not exactly sure where we are, we're in the Sabi Sands Game Reserve, which is about a 120,000 acre reserve that is open to the Kruger National Park. And we are in the northern part of that reserve, and we traverse over 3 private reserves within the Sabi Sands, known as Djuma, Arathusa, and Cheetah Plains. I'm currently on Arathusa, but I'm heading back to Djuma, and I think James is still on Cheetah Plains. Now, speaking of James, let's see how he is faring on the plains of the cheetah.
The elephants went away, everybody, and then we saw some zebras and they too went away, but that's okay. Did you see how that rhymed, Brian? It was absolute poetry. It must be like working with Shakespeare. Yes. Now, Mia, you wanted to know what an elephant's favorite food at this time of the year is. I just nearly pulled my ear off. Don't worry, Mia. Now, if you do lose my sound, I'm sorry. I'm not going to try and do it with this. I'm just going to shout. Here's an elephant's favorite food. Can you hear me, Brian?
I can.
Oh, it's astounding. Miracles never cease. So, Mia, what the elephant does, he does this, not with a sharp knife, but with his tusks and with his trunk. Finds himself some nice bark to eat. And many of you have seen me do this before, of course, but I just thought I'd show Mia so that she eats her peas again today. Here we go. You still hear me, Brian?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Here we are.
There we go.
Well done. Can you still hear me? Mia, do you see this bit here? See that bit there? That's what the elephants like to eat. And they eat this, the outer bit as well, because they don't have a sharp knife like I've got. But they really like that. That's what they want to eat. Do you know who else likes this, Mia? Brian likes this. And I also like it. Tastes even better than peas. This is a particularly bitter one. It is horrible, isn't it?
It's horrifying.
I think... Oof. So, Mia, what happens is these trees are actually very clever. They know when they're being attacked, like you and I know when we're being attacked. So what they do is, you can see that tree has definitely been attacked by a few elephants. And what they do is they release a very special kind of poison, which doesn't kill anything, but it makes them taste bitter, in the same way that Brian and I just tasted that tree as bitter. And you know, I've eaten from this tree before, and it didn't taste like that. It's got a lot more bitter since I last had a piece of that tree. But that's the bark that they like to eat, Mia. And it's sweet when hasn't got that chemical in it, and it's very nice for them to eat, and it's full of nutrition. So that's what they like to eat. Alrighty, let us continue. There is nothing in these plains. That is not surprising on account of the fact that there is a cold wind now blowing. I was hoping for some ostrich, but alas, no ostrich. Yeah, you say you wouldn't eat that tree. I bet you would if you came out here. I would give you some and you would happily eat it, I promise. It's not that yuck. Although that particular one is quite yuck. Right, let's see what's round the corner here. Ah. Hello. Hello, Paddington Bear. You say you're in Australia. Well, you're a long way from home then, Paddington Bear. You say what animal... I've been just looking into these clearings because we saw some jackals here last time, as well as a wildebeest. Paddington, you say, what animal best describes me? I don't know, really. Brian, do you have any ideas of what animal best describes me?
Maybe a fiery-necked nightjar.
A fiery-necked nightjar, says Brian. Okay, well, that's fair enough. You see, the thing is, Paddington, there are animals you'd like to be like, but whether you are actually like them or not is another thing. I don't know. I'm probably a bit like in terms of wild animals, maybe a dwarf mongoose, sometimes a honey badger. Obviously, one would like to think of oneself as a leopard, or very terrifying male lion, or a particularly wise elephant bull. But I'm getting honey badger is pretty good from Final Control. I'll take honey badger. I'm going to go with honey badger. Brian, giraffe?
Yeah, I guess so.
Brian is quite like a giraffe, actually. The way he surveys the landscape in a very calm and collected manner. Here are some impala. Shame, poor old impala. If you asked 100 people to describe themselves as an animal, I guarantee you fewer than one of them would say, "Oh, I'd like to be an impala." Paddington Bear obviously identifies himself as a Peruvian bear. As far as I'm aware, you don't get bears in Peru, but that's where Paddington was from originally. If you don't know what we're talking about here, everyone, and maybe in the States, I don't know if Paddington Bear ever reached the States. Wonderful children's stories about a bear called Paddington who was found at Paddington Station with his blue raincoat, ridiculous rain hat, and one brown suitcase full of marmalade sandwiches. And yellow Wellington boots, as Louise points out to me. Thank you, Louise. And there's some zebras in the background. And if you look very closely, between the zebras, you can see one lonely wildebeest moving just to the left-hand side of your screen there. Just where that zebra is now, there's a wildebeest. There's another wildebeest. Safari Ginny in Canada, you say that I would be a lapwing. Safari Ginny in Canada, I'm assuming that you are referring to my skinny legs. Thank you very much for that, Safari Ginny. It's not like I didn't have a complex already. I will now have to seek psychological help. Thank you, Safari Ginny. Yes, I suppose a plover is it's not too far off what I am. In the same way, I suppose Brian might be described as a secretary bird. Especially with his long hair. It's quite a nice scene there. And they're all hanging around with each other for safety and because there just ain't so much left to eat. And so that there is normally going to find quite a few species around. And look at the colour. Lovely gold, or at least grey with drops of copper and gold. And of course chestnut. That's exactly right, Aaron. In New Zealand you say impala are actually rather pretty, but you guess they just get overlooked because they're so common. Indeed. That is precisely what happens. They do get overlooked. I have a rule that I have to stop for impala at least once a day. I was taught that by a chap who started guiding just before me. And I went on a drive with him once, and he had some guests, and they were desperate to just see big animals. And he stopped next to them, and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "No, stop at impala every day, once a day, just to appreciate how great they are." And I thought that was a really good idea. Brilliantly coloured for this time of year. Alright, let's go on from here and head towards... I'm just trying to think before we head off. You can hear there the call of the lilac-breasted roller. Brian, can you think of anybody who you might liken to a lilac-breasted roller? Think of... I'm not sure Brent's going to be too happy when he finds out about that. Hello, Gracie H9. You say you got an elephant for your birthday called Snuggles. Now, I'm not sure exactly what that means, but you say he's an orphan and your parents have given him to you and you get pictures of him every week. I think that's wonderful, Gracie. I hope Snuggles appreciates you, and I hope one day that it won't only be pictures of Snuggles that you have. I hope that Snuggles actually meets you in the flesh, as it were. That's really very cool indeed, Gracie. Wonderful. Right, we're going towards 3 in a row pan, or trifecta waters. That is what it's called, isn't it, Brian?
Yeah, 3 sister pools.
3 sister pools, that's right. It's just round the corner here, and we'll see if anything else is having a drink there. Dina, you say aren't impala an important source of food for other species that would be missed if they were gone? Absolutely. They would most certainly be missed if they were gone. And they're extremely important, extremely beautiful, and a crucial part of this ecosystem. So absolutely, yeah. Now, I by no means meant to indicate that they were in some way not necessary or important to the ecosystem out here. No, they're a massively important part of what happens out here. And everything likes to eat them. Cheetah, wild dog, leopard, lion, they will all eat impala. And you know, although, like, we've been watching those lions devouring a buffalo for the last 2 days, you'll find, I think, that lions probably eat far more impala than we think they do. We just don't see them, because you can imagine one impala wouldn't go very far amongst that vast pride of lions that we saw today, with the 2 males and the 5 females. So I think in their wanderings at night, they quite often devour an impala and then just carry on, maybe 2 a night, and then they just keep moving. But when something big like the buffalo gets killed, well, then we spend a bit of time looking at it because we actually see it happening. Right, the water is just down here. It hasn't been very hot today. It was supposed to be about 21 degrees Celsius apparently, 70 Fahrenheit. I'm not convinced that that was the case as we came through on drive today. It feels colder than that, but that might just be the wind blowing out of the southeast. Let us speed up a little bit so that we might get there before the sun goes down. And I am still looking for tracks, I promise. I did promise to try and show some other tracks other than lions and leopards. In fact, the waterhole's a very good place to do that. We'll do that there, provided there isn't a lion or a leopard there. We don't want to frighten it away. I don't see anything there. Alice, what a lovely question from you. If you're in Virginia and you say, what kind of reptiles live here on the reserve? Alice, well, there are a number of different kinds. There are about 5 different lizards, about 9 different skinks or so. We get chameleons, 1 kind of chameleon, 5 or 6 different kinds of gecko. And then we get the 2 different kinds of tortoise, 2 different kinds of terrapins. What other reptiles? And of course, sometimes, if you're really lucky, you might see a crocodile. They sometimes come through here, Alice. So those are the reptiles, and then obviously you get lots of snakes. Lots of different kinds of snakes. But we don't often see them, you know. Reptiles are very sneaky, and they like to be away from people. Alright, I'm going to have a little walk in here. Let's see if we can find some interesting tracks. Like I said, the light has got a bit flat, which means it's going to be difficult for me to show you with any great ease. Oxpeckers shouting. You will tell me if you see a crocodile, will you, Brian?
I will.
Yes.
I will.
Now, here's an enormous elephant track. I mean, this is the most easy thing to see. You can see I can fit both my feet and in fact much of my lower leg into this one elephant track. So that's one big elephant cow track. It's not even a big bull. What else have we got here? Nothing particularly obvious if you can't sort of stand here next to me. I don't suppose you can see this, can you, Brian?
Yeah.
You can. That's an Egyptian goose. It's like a duck.
Sounds no good.
Sound is no good. How's that? Is that okay? But I'm afraid there's not a great deal around here that's very easy to show. There's a nice sandy patch just up ahead there, and we'll have a look in that. It's difficult with the camera because, especially if the light's flat, because you can't really get down to ground level to show them. But we'll keep giving it a go. It's easier on bushwalk. But we'll keep trying. My leggy blanky, Brian. It's quite chilly here. There's a cold wind coming out of the southeast. I'd best plug myself in or I'll be in trouble. There we are. On we go. Goodness. Now, there's a nice sandy patch up ahead here. Then I think we're going to go back towards Juma because we have exhausted our options here as cheetah plains. Had a very good return with those elephants. Let's have a look here. Here's a nice sandy spot. What have we got going on here? Anything fresh, Brian? I suppose there's 1 or 2 things. Gosh, now I'm losing things. They're falling down my pants. Absolute disaster. Excuse me, everybody. My microphone keeps disappearing. Okay, I'm going to hold it like this. Can you see this over here, Brian? This is a buffalo track, and if you're wondering how to identify a buffalo track, it just looks like a cow track. It looks like a cow came walking along here. Then what else have we got here? This is known as a prop. This was placed here almost unquestionably by a ranger, perhaps worried about not finding anything and having something that he can fall back on to show people. It's a buffalo skull. Then I can't show you that one. I can't believe how few there are. Oh, here's one. Can you see down here? There's a zebra track. Now, we were asked about the size of zebra a little while back. That's a young zebra, and you can see, well, you might be able to see, it's about sort of 2.5 to 3 inches long. It's a young zebra. A big zebra will have the size of sort of good pony-sized hoof. So that's what that is. And that's about all we got around here at the moment, I'm afraid. Mornings are best for tracks, especially when there's a bit of contrast from the light. I'll try and rearrange myself. Okay. And there we are. Okay. On we go. Yes, there we go. Hello, Laurie. You say, am I worried that a lion or something is going to sneak up on me when I'm out of the vehicle? Laurie, it might not look like it, but whenever we get out of the car, we always have a quick scan around the place to check. You have to do that. And yes, if you're not careful, something might sneak up on you. I mean, it's much more likely that something's going to move away from you if you get out of the car and it happens to be standing there. But you don't want to give something a fright and give it such a fright that it comes towards you. So no, I'm not really that worried. Once I've got checked and got out of the car, I'm not that worried that something's going to sneak up on me. Brent Leo Smith has moved to the great gangsters of the wilderness. Let's go and find out how Al Capone and his friends are faring.
There we go. We are at Gallagher Pan. The Pride has left the carcass, and there's 2 Birminghams and 2 Nkuhuma lionesses at the pan at the moment. Apparently the rest of the Pride, so the 3 females and 8 cubs, moved west from here. And there's old Scarface, and his intentions look amorous. Not much movement from the Nkuhumas that are here. So there we go, the other 2 just off in front. So that looks like amber eyes in front of us. Oh, shh. I thought I heard a buffalo. Brrr. And is that amber? Yes, it is. Now it sounds like there's some buffalo not too far from here. Now, with 2 males present, if those buffalo happen to stumble in here, there's a good chance they might catch them again. So I think what we've got here, we've got amber eyes, and we've got the youngest Nkuhuma off to the right. Now, guys, I'm just having a bit of a technical problem, so I'm going to have to go back to James for a second, and we'll be back into text. So let me just make sure James isn't going to get surprised, and then we will be back. I just need to fix something quickly.
Right, we're now on our way to find the African plane tree that Brent Leo Smith told us about. I'm sorry about his technical glitch. That's a bit sad because there's quite interesting stuff going on with those lions. I think it's fascinating that 2 Birmingham boys and 2 ladies, perhaps, well, almost certainly the 2 that don't have cubs yet, so perhaps they're going to mate and all 5 will have cubs. That's quite nice, actually. It'd be quite nice if it worked out like that, because by the time these new ones are born, the others will be beyond, well, they will have weaned. Yeah, they would have. Just about. Let's say if they conceived now, the older ones would definitely have weaned, the others would be well on their way to weaning. But it does mean that those 5 lionesses are then going to have to kill for the first team. They're going to have to kill buffalo quite regularly, possibly the old giraffe. It's a good time though, you know. We talk a lot about the deleterious effects of the drought and that sort of thing, but it's a really good time for the lions to have a huge number of cubs, because of course it is very possible that if this dry season or drought continues, there are going to be a lot of weak animals, which means there will be enough for them to eat, which I think is quite interesting. Now let's just ease our way around the corner here, and then I will hopefully find you the great African plane tree. Now I hope you're all ready for the African plane tree. Do you think everyone's ready, Brian?
I hope they are.
I hope they are. Because for the soar, straight magnificence of the African plane tree, if you're not prepared for it, everybody, if you're not prepared for the African plane tree, I fear me that you're going to be so overwhelmed you might fall off your chair. Are you all holding on to your chairs? Brian, will you hold on to your camera?
I am.
Okay, don't leap off in fright when I show it to you. Everyone in final control, are you holding on to your chairs? Just before I show them, they must help. They're holding on very tightly. Brilliant white knuckles, says Louise. Are you ready, Brian?
Ready.
The incredible African plane tree is this thing here.
Wonderful.
Is it not amazing?
It's incredible.
Yes. It is almost 2.5 feet tall. It has wood that you can do absolutely nothing with. And as far as I'm aware, nothing eats it. I mean, have you ever? Oh, magnificent.
Magical. Awe-inspiring.
Savage,
Very
one
savage.
might say. The African plane tree is actually quite interesting, especially in the summertime. It's because it resembles what we call a protea, and a protea is our country's national flower. Now, I know that it's going to be very difficult for you to leave this incredible sighting of the African plane tree, everybody, and I know you'd rather look at the African plane tree and the little fly that is now sitting on it, but Brent has now got lions. He's fixed his technical issues, so I'm afraid you're going to have to go and look at them.
Okay, so we're all back. We've fixed the issue. We've positioned ourselves. Amber Eyes is being quite sneaky. As soon as there was a bit of a lull, she snuck off a bit further from the Birmingham boy. Here she is. Now, where she's looking, I'm pretty sure I heard a buffalo go brr. Wouldn't it be incredible if they caught another buffalo so soon? So these are the only 2 lionesses who don't have cubs yet. So they could be coming to estrus. Just judging from the behavior, it might be the case that the fact that the males are sticking with them. But I think the youngest lioness, who's lying next to that dark-maned Birmingham, is probably more likely to be coming into estrus. Looks like she might be coming for a drink. If you get ready, it might be a bit of a All she wants to do is have a drink. Look at her creeping. Doesn't want to let her out of his sight. Making sure he's in between the other male. He's still growling even while drinking. There we go. And the other male's moving off safety. You can hear that slurping. I hope you guys are getting some fantastic screenshots of this. Okay, I'm just going to move the car a little bit further back. So Steph in Texas is wondering whether a lioness can have infertility problems and whether Pride or Coalition recognize this. She can definitely have infertility problems, but whether the Pride can recognize it, I would not be able to tell you, Steph, to be honest. Probably not would be my guess. Thirsty kitties. Oh, what is that? Keep looking at those lions, Dave. I think. Oh, no, I thought it was a buffalo, but it's not. It's just a dark patch in the bush. So Linda is wondering how far the lions are away from the Juma camp. And they're not far. They're at the Gallagher Pan, which is probably about 300 meters. Now, Bob is wondering if the current cubs develop into a coalition, could they possibly confront their fathers one day? It's very unlikely, Bob, because at about the age of 3 years old, they'll be chased away by their fathers. So they normally end up quite far away from their natal prides. And this is, of course, to prevent inbreeding. You can hear the green wood hoopers making a noise in the distance. Keep looking back, and that's where I thought I heard buffalo. Now, Sandy in Canada is wondering if all the Nkuma females have cubs, could this lead to a possible male lion shortage in sightings as they try look for other females to mate with? Sandy, they'll still come back to protect this area because they have invested interest there in their genetic line, in those cubs surviving. So not necessarily they will come back to spend time with the Nkuma pride. I think I just heard an alarm call. So did that male lion. Let's see if it happens again. So I just had the update that there are buffalo at the Juma Dam pan, which is not far, and that's probably the buffalo I'm hearing. No, that's not what I'm hearing now. I almost think I'm hearing kudu alarm calls. And now, if I put my ears on, I can sound what here sounds like buffalo, much closer than that Juma Dam pan. It sounds like they might be coming this way. So, here we go. Now, it means male's starting to look a little bit amorous. Let me just move the vehicle. And I don't think the female's just quite ready yet. Okay. Let's have a look at the lions. Look, there you go. Amber Eyes is laying down and not looking too interested in anything. Andrew, make your way. I'm the only station. Just come straight to Gallagher, Monty. And then I'm pretty sure I can hear, what I heard was like buffalo knocking horns. There we go. If we look at the other lines, they seem to be far more alert and looking towards, well, she was looking towards where those buffalo sounds are coming from. But they all got full bellies. I think those buffalo almost have to stumble right into them to get any major interest. Listening carefully and looking to the southeast. Hi, Chitra. Chitra, who's in India, says, would lions ever hunt rhinos? Very seldom, and we have to be unique circumstances. I've only ever seen it once, and I've seen twice. Apologize. I've actually seen a pride of lions successfully kill a sub-adult rhino. I've lost my mic, sorry. Is it back? And we have some gaffer tape, please, Dave. Sorry about that, folks. Our technical issue seems to be back. I'm going to try to see if I can fix it with some tape. But we can keep looking at the lovely lions. He does have a very particular look about him since he split his lip, that Birmingham boy. Apologise about that. And I just want to... How's that, Dave? Sounding good? When in doubt, tape it or cable tie it. Okay, there we go. That should be good. He does have, almost looks like I have a permanent scowl or snarl on his face with that split lip. But out of the two Birminghams who are here at the moment, he's definitely the dominant. But while we stick around with the lions, see what they get up to, let's go see what James has got.
Right, everybody, we have got a waterbuck, obviously. For those of you who don't know, that is a waterbuck, and a young waterbuck, the size, roughly, and description of a donkey. And look how fluffy it is. There's an impala in the background. It really does, on a chilly afternoon like this, make you want to go up to it and give it a large cuddle. Wouldn't you like to cuddle it, Brian?
I would love to.
I think it would be very pleasant, if a little niffy. We do know that waterbuck, of course, smell a bit like must. Or, well, I don't think it's actually must at all, or musky. I think it's like an old fireplace. I think it's rather comforting smell. There's a nice road just around that side, and there's also a very pretty view of the sunset. So let's go around that way, and we'll just see what the sunset looks like. Oh, look at that, Brian. So amazing. I might be forced to take a picture, Brian. Can you believe it? You probably can. Now we're just easing down here because the waterbuck family is all on the right-hand side there. Hello. Don't look so surprised. You've probably seen us, I don't know, 150 times. There's a lovely smell. Smells very comforting, I find. They don't like us, Brian. They don't want to be around us, which I don't think is very nice of them. What have you got? A Steinbock. Oh, a hornbill. Oh. Let's just keep watching it, as I think it may well do it again. Hello, Matt. You're a new viewer, and you say you've just stumbled across the stream and you really enjoy it. Well, Matt, we love bringing it to you. Oh, look at that. Isn't that fantastic? Now, there is an element of dust bathing there, but sometimes those hornbills go to an ant's nest I wonder if that's not what he's doing. And they open their wings and they lie on the ant's nest, and they either put individual ants on their feathers, or they'll lie with their wings open over the ant's nest. And what that does is it obviously exposes them to ants, and the ants are the formicid type of ants normally, which means that they'll crawl onto the hornbill, and then the hornbill will ruffle his feathers, and they'll release formic acid onto the feathers, and that will kill off ectoparasites that might be hurting the hornbill. And then he'll eat the ants off himself. I don't think he went quite that far. I think he's behind there. No, did he fly? Yeah. Right, let's sneak a little bit forward, because there are 2 or 3 other species here we can look at. Some kudu. And I can also hear a woodpecker. There's the woodpecker. Brian, you see this guarri bush in front of us? You got him. The main trunk, middle trunk, no, right a bit. That one there, middle trunk there. Well done, brilliant. How cool is that? A bearded woodpecker. Oh, I can still see him. Can you see him there? I'll sneak forward. Oh, there he is. That's a bearded woodpecker, male. And we'll just get a little bit of movement forward and then switch off. There we are. There he is. See, he doesn't quite know if he's been seen. Yeah, he's straight in front of us now. You see that just on the bed? There you go. How cool is that, everybody? That's him calling. That's the bearded woodpecker. That's the male with the red head. The female's got a black head. Look at him pecking away for his dinner, looking for grubs and things underneath the bark. Marvellous. I'm just taking pictures of the sunset quickly, everybody, and then I shall show you. You'll be so amazed, won't they, Brian? Or not. Hello. Somebody called Megazard, who seems to be from Bonnie, Scotland, and you say that this stream is evidence of wildlife more sort of exciting than that you find at home. Well, yes, I suppose it is. You know, my father spent a long time in Scotland when he was a boy. He didn't come back speaking very fondly of the wildlife, but I'm glad that you're enjoying it. It's great to have you with us, and mostly, thank you for getting hold of us and telling us that you're watching. It's great to hear from you. Is that not a beautiful shot there of our great African sky? And of course, if you ever come to Africa, the one thing you have to do is spend a little bit of time with the African sun going down. It's just too magnificent. And as I say to all of you every day, just about whenever we sit and look at the sun going down, I go on and on about how great it is that we're able to look at it. Right, I think I've taken enough pictures of the sunset. Ooh. Now, Matt, you say that your girlfriend is a teacher and she's looking forward to showing this stream to her class and to her colleagues. Matt, we do school drives, and I'm just going to wait for the email address now. Stand by, it's coming, everybody. I think it's schools or school@wildearth.tv, but let me just confirm that with you. And then your girlfriend, Matt, who is involved, of course, in the world's most noble profession, that of teaching, she can just send an email to Jerry, and Jerry will be able to organize a time for your school to watch. and where we can sort of dedicate half an hour or so of the drive to the class. I think that will be possible, but we'll just find out quickly now what the email address is, as these beautiful waterbuck observe the sunset in the same way that we are while they have their dinner. Right, so your email address, Matt, is schoolsplural@wildearth.tv. Just pop an email off to Jerry, and Jerry will tell you exactly how to deal with or how to organize a school drive. That's great. Thank you, Matt. And there are these kudu here, Brian, behind us. They basically are staring at the sunset. They're having a wonderful time observing the sunset going down. That one is particularly awestruck by it. What is that noise? I think it's the battaliers, you know, those battaliers are on their nest not far from here. It's so quiet, it's just so wonderful. All I can hear is the odd drongo, and if you listen very carefully you can hear the slap of the waterbuck's lips as they smack over their little tufts of grass and pull them out. Yes, you. I was talking to you, that's right. Chew with your mouth closed. There we are. Have a listen. Did you hear it at all, Brian? A little bit, maybe. And then also a magpie shrike in the distance. Oh, it's just so peaceful and marvellous. Especially with their sort of smoky, peaty smell. Oh, sorry chaps, I just moved slightly in the seat. They'd got so used to us being... Oh no, Brian. That's why I'm the bush laxative, everybody. There we go. That's it, put it down. Put your tail down. Don't embarrass me. Come on. Thank you very much. There we are. Let's go to Buffelshoek Dam, see what's happening over there. Maybe Mvula and Shiluva will decide to pop out there for the afternoon. They've pitched up at Yorse's Dam up on Buffelshoek 2 nights in a row. So maybe they'll choose a different perspective today. It's not a magpie shrike that's calling. I think it's a drongo that is imitating a magpie shrike. It's just not quite right. Let's see if I can find it. I think it's in this marula tree here. There's 2 or 3 of them. Do you know what I mean, Brian? It just doesn't sound quite right. Yeah, and now this one's doing a pearl-spotted owl. It's definitely a drongo. Yeah. This is actually so cool. Oh no, there they are. They are magpie shrikes. There we go. There we go. That's them. They're just flying off. Wait, I got that one wrong. They're obviously just not very good singers. Right, off to Buffelshoek Dam we go. And I'd love to see where that hippopotamus went. So we have hippopotamus there today, this morning, lying, languishing in the mud, and then he got up as we got there and walked off, possibly to try and find something to eat. Quite interesting to see if he's come back again. We've also got some nyalas over here. No, I'm not wrong, you know. There are nyalas, but there are a few drongos here who are imitating these magpie shrikes. Yes. And they're the most beautiful antelope, the nyala. There's quite a lot of bird song for this time of the night. A couple of rattling cisticolas. Oh, it's lovely. I've seen a few nyala doing quite a lot of grazing of late, as opposed to eating leaves from trees. Jacqueline, a good question from you about why drongos imitate other birds. We don't really know. There are a number of theories as to why mimicry takes place, and one of them is that it's for intra-specific competition. So, for example, apparently in the robins, when they do it, a male robin who's able to imitate more bird species is more likely to mate, apparently, than a robin that can't do quite so many. So that's one adaptation. The other thing that it might be used for is to make it sound like the territory is full. So perhaps you want to frighten off predators, or you want to frighten off potential competition for the same food source. Audio's breaking. I don't know what's going on with it. How's that? It's fine. Obviously got a problem with this microphone. How's that? Better. Sorry about that, everybody. So it can sound like it can. No, I've lost myself. So to fill up the territory, so for example, that drongo will make the call of a crested franklin. It makes the call of a pearl-spotted owl. It was doing the magpie shrike there. They'll sometimes do waxbills and that sort of thing. So maybe it makes it sound like the area is full of other birds, and it deters other birds from coming into the area and leaves the drongo with more to eat. I don't really buy that one, because I don't think they're very good mimics. And you know, I mean, maybe they do enough of a good job to make other birds of those species sound, make them think that there are, I don't know, waxbills or franklins in the area, but I'm not sure that that's true. So I don't know. I think it's a fascinating one. And I mean, the mimics out here are not bad, but they're nothing as good as parrots. Some of the parrots that that you find, you've heard parrots talking, that's just mimicry, that's all that is. And in the same way, if you've ever heard what are those birds called that do the chainsaw? Oh, come on. It's not bowerbirds, it is lyrebirds. Lyrebirds. They do chainsaws, they do camera shutters, but absolutely perfectly. And I'm not sure why they're able to do those. Okay, let's head back across to Brent. I think he's still with those lions, and I'm sure they're about to get on the move.
Well, Amber's up, even with that rotund belly of hers. Where are you off to, madam? You are going on a buffalo hunt all by yourself? I wouldn't put it past Amber Eyes. Andrew Firestone said he's always been so impressed with Amber Eyes since taking down that buffalo. She's going to go into that drainage system here. And she spotted a bushbuck down here. Now the other lines are not moving. And there they are over there. Now, there we go. Sorry, Dave, I ended up in a hole there. I'm just positioning myself where I can see both ways. Tasha is wondering, will the lions hunt again, even though they've just eaten? Sorry guys, I've got a bit of a technical problem again, and it seems like I'm afraid we're going to have to fix it. So I'm going to jump back across to James.
Not sure what's going on there, everybody, but the other day somebody said to me, "What is your favourite tree?" And I saith unto them, "That is my favourite tree. It is the low-felt milkberry Menelcara mochisa." Now let me just retrieve a little piece of it for you, because this is a particularly scraggly example of Menelcara mochisa. I'm going to fling this microphone away, Brian. It's very irritating to me. Can you hear me? Oh, good. And there is the leaf of Menelcara mochisa. Not a particularly astounding leaf, would you say, Brian? No, just sort of a leaf, really. In summer, though, you will find a milky latex in it, much like the milky latex we showed you in the fig tree earlier on today. And it's quite sweet. And it's not toxic at all. And it's in the berries. And it's quite nice to eat in the berries. And that is Menelcara mochisa, the low-felt milkberry. And I like it because it looks like a sort of storybook tree. I've put on my woolly hat because it is quite cold. Brian, how many jackets have you got on?
The usual 4.
4 jackets for Brian.
And a blankie.
And a blankie. I have also got a blankie, Brian. Yes, and I've got a scarf. Thank you, Louise. You say it's fashionable. Well, thank you so much. I do what I can. We have not arrived at Beefleshoek Dam yet. I'm doing my best to get there as quick as possible before we have no light left and put the lights on. I'm looking for a spotlight. Hello, Drongo. Isn't that nice? That's a beautiful shot. He's a long way now. He's most of the way to the Drakensberg. Oh well. On we go. There's an impala. We'll stop looking at impalas now. There's not really enough light. And we'll start to stun them if we put the lights on them. In exactly the same way as deer are stunned by lights and often cause accidents. They run into cars, of course, in the US. That's a zebra, isn't it? It is. It's a zebra going into Torchwood, everybody. We're not going to worry about that. If the zebra doesn't want to be on Juma, we don't want to look at it. And there, the crested Franklin. Now, we had a lovely question this morning about where they roost and how they roost, because I told you yesterday that the coursers and the lapwings are unable to perch because they don't have a backward facing foot. Now these ones often perch in trees, just not very high up, but they'll go up into trees, although their nests are on ground, and they do have a small back foot, so they can actually grasp a branch, is the point I'm trying to make, in a very roundabout, poor way. Perfectly camouflaged. As I keep saying to you, I'm more and more impressed by how they look. Hello, Andrew from Johannesburg. You say, do I keep a bird list? Johannesburg, of course, where Brian and I are from originally, not so, Brian? It is true. Brian, I don't, at least Andrew, I don't keep a bird list. I did for a little while, but I don't really, so I don't know how many birds I've seen. I'm afraid I haven't ever counted them. I'm not, I suppose, yeah, I mean, people who keep mad, crazy bird lists are twitchers, and I know guys in this country who've seen more than 800 of the bird species that you can see just here. That discounts all the ones that they've seen overseas. I haven't seen anything like that. I'd probably put my list somewhere around 500, I guess. But yeah, I'm not that fascinated by the number of species I've seen. I think it's a great idea in a specific area. If you're in a new area, like, I mean, some of you are in a new area basically by being here on safari with us, I think it's a great idea to keep a list. And I really love hearing about people's bird lists and new additions to their bird lists. But having been in this area for now, well, close on 15 years or so, you know, I know if I see a new bird. Right, Brent is back with the lions, sorted out his tech issues. Let's go back to him.
Sorry about that. We're going to try to get Connor to fix them as soon as we get back to camp. But there we are. The 3 of the lions have moved into that thicket where this male is looking. I'm hoping he's going to give us a roar. So directly where he's staring is where the one male and one female went. Amber Eyes went a little bit further to the south. Maybe off on a solo buffalo hunt, although I doubt. Oh, it looks like he might have a drink, so let's just get in a good spot. Serengeti Debbie says the mating lion movements together should be called synchronized lionation or lionization. Sorry, I think I might have got that wrong. Lionization. Well, it sounds like you are very good with words, Serengeti Debbie. Now, isn't that beautiful? Hopefully you're getting some nice screenshots, guys. Remember to share them with us. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or pop them on our Facebook page, which is Safari Live. That clickety click is me taking my screenshot. Gustav is wondering how many liters of water can a lion drink while he is drinking at the water hole. Oh, Did you hear that, Dave? I heard a lion contact call. Gustav, I would probably say less than a litre. I'm afraid I can't tell you exactly how much water a lion can drink in a single sitting. But I don't think it's not nearly as much as a litre. You can hear the hardy-dar ibis flying off to their roost in the background. Now, Cecilia is wondering, do lions roar when they're hunting? Now, Cecilia, that's probably the only time they don't, well, not don't, but they definitely don't roar while hunting. As you so aptly said, it would give their position away. So, roaring is all about letting all the other lions in the area know either where you are or to try and keep lions that are outside of your pride or coalition away from you. So the roaring is not to do with hunting, it's to do with communication between the pride and also communication to other prides. So lionesses will call to make sure that other lionesses don't come into their territory, and the same with male lion coalitions. So he looks like he's going to join the other two. Let's see if we can get a last visual of them before they head into that very thick area. There's a junction of about 3 little rivers there. That is near impossible to get a vehicle in. And let Andrew go past, he's on his way out. But hasn't this been interesting? Now, the rest of the pride is somewhere close by, not sure exactly where, but I think up towards Gallagher Shortcut, and there's only these 4 around here. Oh, I think he got growled at, decided it was time to stop right there. Now, the others are just beyond where he's lying. Come on, not even a little roar before bed? Before our bed, at least. Now, a couple of days ago, this is the exact same area where we lost Karula disappearing into. Now, Tasha's wondering, will these lions hunt again even though they've just finished eating? They are opportunists, Tasha, so that if something happened upon them, or if they happened to bump into something while they were moving through the bush, they would definitely hunt again. The amount of effort they put in sometimes varies, but I think it's a good chance that they would hunt again tonight if opportunity presented itself. Now, if we look in my spotlight, the other lions are behind that thick bush over there. So not far away, probably about 10 feet away. But we can't see them. Well, let's go see James for a few minutes before the end of Safari so he can bid you a farewell.
Yes, indeed, everybody, we have come to the end of our time together for this particular juncture of Safari Live. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Jay.
I must confess, I think your mustachioed thumb today was particularly impressive. Let's have one last look. Very nice, everybody. Thank you for coming along to Cheetah Plains with us. Sorry we didn't find the ostriches. Hopefully next time we will. It's a little rabbit. Well, it's not a rabbit at all. It's a scrub hare. Beautiful. Well spotted. The scrub hare has just come out of its form. It's going into the night, and hopefully it will not meet up with the lions. Let's go back to them for the last little bit of the drive. Thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.
And in true male lion fashion, he's not moved at all. Now, hopefully, they're going to be around again on the sunrise safari. And who knows, maybe they'll have another buffalo. But Juma pan aficionados, I definitely keep a close eye on the pan this evening. They might pop up there at some point in the night. Just trying to hear where the other lions are. No such luck. I know they're there. I think what happened as he moved towards where the other male and female were lying, he would have got severely growled at. Now, it has been a wonderful day. Tingana and the Nkahumas on the kill in the morning. Unfortunately, Tingana went visiting outside of our Traverse area this evening, but the lions are still out and about. Hopefully he'll be able to catch up with the cubs and their lovely little full bellies on the sunrise safari. And it is always exciting to think, oh, hello, turn your head, have a look. Yay, good boy. It's always exciting, the prospect of the sunrise safari, a blank canvas to work with and try to figure out what shenanigans have been going on in the hours of darkness. So even a Birmingham bottom is better than no Birmingham at all, and we're coming towards the end of the sunset safari, so it has been a splendid, Dangerous Dave, the objectified dish, and myself have thoroughly enjoyed having you on the back of the vehicle with us, and hopefully we can do it all again with just as much success on tomorrow's sunrise safari. Now, it's quite interesting dynamics that's happening. These Birmingham boys following around that single lioness. Maybe we're going to see some mating in the next 10 days. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think we're definitely going to see quite a bit more of the Nkahumas and their cubs. And I'm hoping maybe a bit of Queen Karula and hers, who I haven't seen in an age. But for now, goodbye from Dangerous Dave and myself. See you bright and shiny tomorrow morning.